to Nicole's Creative Adventures. This is a podcast about knitting, about quilting, about spinning, sometimes sewing, just kind of whatever is inspiring me or getting me excited to be crafty and handmade. Welcome if this is your first time checking out my podcast. My name is Nicole, and I'm the host for Nicole's Creative Adventures. Um, I'm really glad you came, and if you like the podcast, just hit the like button or subscribe. Subscribing is great, just lets you know when my next podcast is. But welcome. I would love for you to come over to my Ravelry group, which I'll mention in a moment on how you can contact me. And just say hi, introduce yourself. This is my community of craftiness, and I love you guys. So with that being said, here is a little video on how you can get a hold of me or follow me in all the different social media venues. Okay. Okay, so that just made me laugh because it's like overcast outside and I feel like I'm kind of mellow today, which is not normally my MO. And that video was so hyperactive compared to me right now. So anyways, I hope that made you laugh because it's just like, what? But I thought it was cool that I put that together and like I tried to make it fun. So anyways, let's move along. First thing I want to say is I love fall, and today's overcast and there was drizzling, and I'm coming to you guys from Livermore, California, and so I'm really excited, and I'm wearing like a little sweater jacket, and I've got my Atwood shawl on, and I have yoga pants on and knitted socks, and so I'm feeling very comfortable, and I'm wearing my new glasses. I just got these last week. My other glasses were a little behind on the prescription, and were really just kind of tore up. I mean, they were probably like 5 or 6 years old. So I got my new glasses on. They're not fancy schmancy. I only wear my glasses usually in the evenings. I mostly wear contacts. So but I like them, and they're really light and they're comfortable, and I haven't worn kind of like these thicker frames in a while. Just getting used to them. But anyways, hey, and for those of you that have come back to watch my podcast, hi, thanks for coming back. How are you doing? Are you getting all knitting crazy? This is knitting time, people. Fall. Knitting, fiber, hoarding of stash, like I'm a squirrel. You guys feel the same way? And quilting time too, like you start thinking, it's gonna get cold. I need to keep people warm in my household or people that you love. And then we're also getting into gift giving time. And so we're thinking, what can I knit or crochet or quilt or sew to give to people that I love? Because homemade gifts are always so much more heartfelt. So let's move along. So to help make my podcast a little bit more user-friendly, well, there's Marco. I decided that I'm going to shorten my podcast. And since I have so much to share with this, being 3 weeks, I'm going to split this sucker into two. And so you're going to see some finished objects, some work in progress, some of my stash advancement, some of what's been going on. And then the next time you'll see the second portion, and it won't be 3 weeks from now, because I'll have less to podcast, so I should be able to fit in hopefully another podcast next weekend. So that's the goal. So just keep that in mind. I'm also going to try to do a better job of letting you know what's coming up. So if you want to skip ahead, you'll know where to do that. I'll mention that a little bit later. And the other thing is, I did attempt to podcast yesterday, trying to get a different view for you. And unfortunately, one, I was not in my right mind, I think. But also, the sun was coming down and the lighting was just horrible. So you will most likely see some splicing in of this of that podcast into this one, and maybe next weekend, because I pretty much almost completely podcasted everything. And then I was like, one, this is too long, and two, this looks stupid with the light. So that's why you might see some of that. So you'll see a different background. But just wanted to fill you in on that, so that you're not wondering like, wait, is it what? Did I miss? What, did we time warp, or you know? So thanks for tagging along. Okay. Okay. So I have a giveaway going on with my podcast, and it's a subscriber giveaway. So if you haven't already subscribed to my YouTube page, click on it right there. And all that is it just notifies you that I've uploaded a podcast, and it kind of organizes in this great subscription page of YouTube so that you can kind of see all the things that you subscribe to. And then the next step is to hop over to Ravelry.com and join my Nicole's Creative Adventures podcast group. And in there, I would love for you to introduce yourself in the introductions thread. And then there's an actual thread that you just post in that you've done the following, and it gets you in the drawing for the skeiny yarn. And the skeiny yarn that's going to be given away is a Hedgehog Fibers yarn, coveted, very popular and colorful yarn. It's their sock yarn in the float colorway, and this was in a part of the sock club that I was part of, and it's a really colorful, pretty color of yarn. In fact, looking at it now, to me it has a very Halloween and winter-esque theme going on. There's these awesome oranges, this really cool neon green, and specks of black. Actually, quite a bit of black speckled through it. I mean, look how yummy that is. And then some pinks and some reds and some aquas, and I mean, there's just a gazillion amount of color in here. But I've seen this knit up, and it's stellar. So hop on over to Ravelry group and do all the following things. I'll even list it, because I know you're like, what am I supposed to do? Right here on this page with hyperlinks, and you'll be set. And if you like my podcast, go ahead and hit the like button. That helps me understand if I knocked it out of the park or sucked at it, and then I need to make improvements. And I'm totally up for learning your guys' suggestions. What would you like to see? What would you like to hear? What should I stop doing? And I already know I should stop saying and that's just more of a habit. Tips and tricks on how to stop that would be great. Maybe give me a new word to replace it with. So in this podcast today, I'm going to be covering these areas. So if you're not interested, you can pass on by, or you can fast forward along. I'm hoping that I can list out, in fact, I know I can. I will list out where to fast forward to get to the sections that are going to be listed. Okay. So first thing I'm going to do, introductions, just a shout out to anybody that's joined my podcasting group in Ravelry. Second, I'm going to go over podcasts I love section, where I do some shout outs to podcasts that I like, and if you haven't been watching them, I'm going to basically enable you to. Then I'm going to move into finished objects. Then I'm going to move into works in progress. Then I'm going to move into a segment kind of just devoted to stash advancement. Yeah, I'm going to go right into that. And then I'm going to do a final thing, like kind of things that I love and I want to cast on or start quilting, you know, just what's up and coming that I want to spend my time on. Okay, so thank you. I have an introductions thread, like I mentioned just a few minutes ago. And in my introductions thread, I like to make sure that I do a shout out to anybody that joins and introduces themselves. So for this week, I want to do a shout out for Megan, who's known as Knitto on Ravelry. That's Knit, Knitoh. And she lives in Ontario, Canada, which is gorgeous. I've only landed there. Never got out of the airport. I wish I could have, but I had literally like an hour and 10-minute layover, and I had to run. But it's a great airport. I really wanted to get outside. But she lives in the country. Her husband and her decided to, you know, kind of move out of the city and moving the country, and that sounds fabulous. That sounds right up my alley. She's a knitter, she's a spinner, and she recently started quilting. So, hey, how are you doing? Thanks for joining my group and watching my podcast, and for sharing what you're working on. And she likes a lot of the similar things that I like. So, Megan, you're awesome. Okay, keep in touch. Okay, podcasts that I love. I like a lot of podcasts, and recently being gone on vacation, which was wonderful, I was so behind. Like, we didn't have Wi-Fi at my friend's cabin that we're at, and I'm totally cool with that because it means you disengage. But because you don't have Wi-Fi, you don't want to stream podcasts on a really low, cell signal and rack up your data. I don't have unlimited data, so when I got home, that's pretty much where my focus was. Let's get caught up. The only problem is I haven't been able to venture out into new podcasts, which is something I like to do as well, because this podcast community is really great about sharing new podcasts they're finding. I'm really intrigued about watching podcasts in other countries that speak English or have subtitling, because I think it's so cool that the crafts that we love bring unity across like all kinds of people and locations, and the love of yarn or fabric just means that people automatically are similar, and I just like that. So anyways, hello, moving on. So my favorite, probably right now, favorite to make me laugh is the Grocery Girls, and that's Jody and Tracy. They're sisters. They're hilarious. And they're really good knitters. I mean, I think they kind of came off like they're these newbies, but I'm like, come on, girls. Like Tracy, I think she works like part-time or volunteers at her local yarn shop, which looks really cool. But no, they're really good at what they do, and they're hilarious. I feel that if I was to go to some sort of event or hang out with those two, we would have so much fun together. There'd be a lot of laughing, and we'd probably get in trouble. Yeah, the three of us could get in trouble. They totally make me laugh. So hey guys, Jody and Tracy, I love you. Love your podcast. You are total enablers though. Okay, just saying, and you know it. But you have good taste, and that's the problem. The problem is if you showed like janky yarn and patterns that weren't very pretty, I'd be like, oh, they're funny, but I'm not going to be inspired. No, you inspire me. So, anyways, thanks for what you do. Keep it going, girls. The second one that I really enjoy and who has kindled my love for cables, which I haven't knit cables in so long, is inside number 23, just remember, and it's Katie, and Katie is lovely, and she's super obsessed with pumpkin spice lattes, and apparently there are some people that don't agree with her. I like pumpkin spice lattes, but I don't think I can handle it. Like my blood sugar levels might be just, but if there was like a non-fake sugar, if there was like a stevia that actually tasted good pumpkin spice latte, I'd be all over that. In the meantime, I just drink lots of pumpkin spice tea or cinnamon spice teas. But yes, pumpkin, anything with spices is the bomb. So anyways, Katie, thanks for rekindling my love for cables. Your pug is hilarious. I have to admit that I was never not that big of a pug fan until I met your puggy. And so now I'm like, oh, maybe the next dog I get is a pug. And my husband's like, stop. You're not getting a next dog. I'm like, what? But I only have this rule. I can only have one dog at a time if I'm going to have two cats. It's just too many animals in the home. So thank you, Katie, for what you're doing and what you're sharing. She's like a sweater knitting guru. Like, she inspires me. And then the other new one that is kind of just in my neck of the woods, I didn't realize that we were just literally 20 minutes from each other, is Stitching in the High Notes. And it's a fairly new podcast. And Joanna is sweet, very sweet. She's also very funny, pretty crazy. And Joanna is an opera singer by day and knitter by night. Actually, it's probably the other way around. When you're an opera singer, you're probably singing in a night vents and then you knit by day. But I think she also has another job that she does too, but she's great. She's funny. Hey Joanna, what's up? I need to come out to your neck of the woods and check out the yarn shops. Shameful, I haven't been over there. I'll probably take my neighbor who knits and we'll go and visit. Yeah, maybe get some coffee or something. Maybe a pumpkin spice latte. And then just binge watching, totally binge watching just recently. Literally this weekend I've been, there's only like 12 podcasts and they're not super long. But Michelle Wong has a podcast and I didn't even know that until recently. I don't know where I was. She's a knitwear designer. She is funny. A little potty mouth on her. But she's funny. She's creative. And I like her take on things. She, I think it was Gauge Intention. She had it was kind of like a pop-up shop, but it was weekends, Gauge Intention, which I've heard mentioned multiple times by other podcasters. Used to be her store, but she's kind of full-time into knitwear design now, and so she no longer has that store, which would seem to be really sad for a lot of people. And I think she also misses it too, but she's just great. So Michelle, what's up? If you ever come up to Cali, actually that would be come over to Cali because she's from New York. Would love to hang out, meet you. If you do a class or you do any of that kind of stuff, love, 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 love what you create. I haven't knit anything of yours yet, but I've mostly drool at all the things that you do. Hoping that someday the drool will happen while I'm knitting on like an actual project that you've created. So, or designed, sorry. Okay, we're done with that. Moving on. Something really cool I've mentioned is I'm in the planning stages of going to Europe next fall for my sabbatical. And I got this cute postcard in the mail. And it says, Nicole, looking forward to seeing you in Tuscany. And this is from Susan, who is the creator of Trips for Knitters. And I'm going to Tuscany. It's a knitting retreat. And retreat is the big word. It's not like we're stuck doing things all day long and on tours and stuff. It's literally relaxation, knitting, eating, drinking, and taking in the scenery. I mean, and it's in this remote, like, I want to say village on a hill in Tuscany. Yeah. And there's like cooking classes. Okay, sorry. I'm excited. Granted, I have to wait like practically a whole year because literally this time next year. Ooh, that's cool. Sorry. I just nerded out. This time next year, Lord willing, I'm still alive. I am going to be in Tuscany. What? And it would be day 4 out of 7 of that retreat. To wait a whole year. Okay, let's move on. Finished objects. Finished objects. Well, I think today I'm going to show you one knitting finished object, one quilting finished object, and a hoe. And a hoe is one half object. Okay, so let's start with a hoe. Which hoe should I show? Oh my gosh, I'm on a roll. I hope you're laughing or rolling your eyes. I'll take either. So, socks for me. Yeah, I'm spoiled. But I'm also part of the Box of Socks COWL that Kristen of Wool and Vine Yarns and the Yarngasm podcast is doing. And I just totally forgot, but I was reminded in some podcasts I saw that all this COWL knit along is to produce 12 pairs of socks within the year for yourself. So when I look at what I have completed for the year so far is I've finished 11 pairs of socks this year. What? Seriously. My goal was 12, so I'm pretty close. But only 10, which is quite a bit, are for me. So I need to knit 2 more pairs of socks for myself. So I cast it on this baby. And I love This is just a vanilla sock. I like vanilla socks a lot. And this yarn, the first time I saw it, it's making an appearance. It's doing the rounds on all the podcasts I've noticed. But the first time I saw it was on the Fluffy Fibers podcast. And, right? Yes. And Fluffy Fibers takes place in France with Isabelle. And she bought this. This is a French yarn. It's Berger de France. And it's the Gumi 50. And this is the Imprime Beige sock, or colorway. And so they come in 50-gram ball skeins. No, it's right in front of my face. I'm keeping it in my very small project bag. This one I made. This is kind of my southwestern little bag. But this is perfect size for my socks, because I only do one at a time, and I use 9-inch circulars. And this is on a 2.5 millimeter. But it fits the 50-gram. I even get a full 100-gram skein in this and my one sock I'm working on. Or you could probably shove in the one that's finished too if you needed to. This is where I'm at. This is works in progress too, so I'm kind of combining them. This is where I'm at on the second one. And I did notice, though, let's just do this, that I think this ball, this one here, is a little darker in the reds. You'll see that. But you know what? I don't think it's that big a deal. You know, this commercial yarn, you're never going to get exactly what you want. But here's what's left of the first skein. It's pretty flimsy, but quite a bit. I could definitely get some little baby vanilla socks out of this. But here's the label. Berger de France, Gumi 50. And then it is very resistant. Oh, sorry. I was going to read something. Where is the, here it is, 75% virgin wool and 25% polymade. So like nylon, basically. And it's really soft. I really like it. I can't wait to wear them. They're comfortable. Great yarn. I picked up another colorway, which I'll show in Stash Advancement, of the same kind of design because I love it so much. So that's my hoe. And then my finished object I'm going to show today is the Rose Candy Cowl by MARTINA, BEHM, I think it is, and she's from Germany. Let me show you. Actually, I probably should put it on. You might see me wearing this if I decide to plug in any from my podcast yesterday. But oh, this is the Atwood shawl. What am I wearing? I forgot to mention that. This is just the small little shawlette size, and this is by Nicole Clark of Hugh Loco podcast and shop. Like, she has a store, she dyes her own yarn and she designs, obviously. This is her yarn as well. This is her tweed based in the cedar colorway, which pretty much goes with so much. But that is this. It's just basic. It's pretty. It's simple. It's a real quick knit. It's fingering weight yarn, but it's a real quick knit. Now, granted, it's a small one, and I'm sure that the larger one will take a little longer, but it's an easy knit. So there's that. So this is my Rose Candy shawl. Let me put it on for you. It's just gonna mess up my hair. Okay. And when you work with a camera, everything is opposite. So it's got some solid black, which is really cool. And then it goes. Now, I'm using yarn that is not very distinctive between the two, right? I used a almost solid black, but let me just show you. Where can it be? So this is Anzula, and it's the luxury Ava base, which is a sport base, MCN, merino cashmere nylon. And you'll see this is the black. So there's like, it has black and gray mixed in. This is the other color, the contrasting yarn I used, which is the same base. This colorway is called, it's called Dark Matter. And that is what I had. So you'll see there's lots of long strands of black in this guy. And so it's just mix mash of like so many different, hold on. We'll focus on the baby. So many different colors. So with these two together, you get this. And so, wrong side. Here it looks like striping. It's literally one black color, black. You know that I'm not going to give you the pattern. It might be two black, two color. I don't know. Can't remember. But because it's a paid for pattern. And then, and this is partially because I actually modified the pattern. I should probably take this off. I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. Because it called for more of the main color and less, now I got fuzz, of the contrasting color. But I didn't want to put more black. I wanted more of the color. So what I did was I did big, so there's like, you'll see long black and then a chunk. So anyways, basically the striping gets larger with the contrasting color and smaller with the main color. And so I really like it. This goes with a lot of things. And then you have this nice strip of black at the very edge. And you can kind of move it around. You can, it does fine both ways. In fact, I think I'm wearing it inside out. You'll see that one side does a better job of showing the contrast, which would be this side, Nicole. It's a really cool construction. We got this. I'm so silly. Or dumb, either or. Okay, there we go. Should have known. Should have known better. I'm short. Anyways, I really like it. It looks great with blacks and grays. I had the other day I had like a magenta, purpley top on and a black like light sweater jacket, and it pulled that color out of this. There's definitely like a plum magenta purple color, and magenta is a little bright, but it was more plum. Pulled it out. I love it. It's so warm. It goes all the way up the neck. You can, you choose the circumference, and I could have went tighter if I wanted, but I think I like the gathering. I didn't actually extend it, so I recommend this pattern. You can buy it on Ravelry. I can't remember how much it is. It's not expensive, but see, the way that she does it, and I'll pop up a photo here, is very high contrasting yarns, and so the stripes are way apparent. I mean, obviously very obvious. Obviously very obvious. Wow, cool. So, but I really like what I did. I was going for more of like I don't want to say high fashion, but I want to say like useful kind of contemporary look. What are my veins doing? And I think I got it with that. So I really like this, and my husband really likes it. He's like, babe, I really like that on you. I'm like, thank you. I try. So I'm gonna knit more of those. And it's a quick knit because it's sport weight, so it doesn't take too long. The construction is really cool. In fact, you kind of go, what am I doing? Like you question yourself in it. In fact, for a long time, I thought I was totally knitting it wrong, but then I saw it all came together, and so I was happy with that. All right, last finished object for the day is a quilt. And I'm going to be lucky enough to give this to the little baby on Sunday, this upcoming Sunday. And funny story. So for those of you that have been watching my podcast, I finished the quilt. It was going to be for Asher, a little boy that my friends were adopting. And the kind of viewing and celebratory party was going to be actually this weekend, but the due date came and went, and so it's pushed off to next weekend. But she ended up giving birth. But guess what? It's a girl. And what's really funny is that my friend Kim and her husband were told, like, they felt like God said, you're going to be getting a girl. But then when they met this girl and the doctor said it was a boy, they thought, we'll be happy with whatever. Well, guess what? It's a girl. The doctors were wrong on that one. So, her name is Destiny, and she's gonna have this quilt. Now, luckily, I didn't pick like boy things. It's pretty neutral, and I'm glad I didn't go with like prints that are very boyish. You know, like what boy things. I don't even know what that means, but you know what I mean. There's girly and there's very boy, and I went with in between. So I finished it. It's just a baby quilt. Um, the teals, the bedding is all kind of teals and grays that she purchased. And I just did stippling in the center, and then I did this kind of triangle free. I mean, I did not line this out. It's all freehand or free motion quilting. And then the backing is little animals. So I'm thinking it's gonna totally work. At first I was like, what? And then I'm like, oh, this is fine. It's a little modern for a little girl, but I think it'll be fine. Yeah. So this is going to a girl. Everybody and their mother is having girls right now. And I'm actually going to show, this was a finished object from a while, and I showed pictures of it, but for the mermaid tail that I knit, I'll just pop up a photo here. Okay, seriously, how adorable is she? She is adorable. So that's my friend Naomi's little girl. Okay, so let's move on to works in progress. You already saw one of them, which was my Berger de France socks. Loving. The other one will be done fast because that is such a quick knit. This next one that I'm working on is a shawl. I casted on another shawl. Let's see. I'm trying to remember when I got inspired. In the midsummer. I think I believe that Danny from Little Bobbins Knits and yeah, well, mostly Danny was telling me that she wants to knit all the shawls from the Shawl Society collection by Helen Stewart, and she does the Curious Handmade, I think, podcast, or she has a website. She's a designer. She's great. And so Helen had put together a 5 shawl collection, and you pretty much, I joined midsummer, so they had already come out with 3 of the shawls, and literally with like week from after I joined, shawl 4 came out, and I was like, oh, ooh, I want to do that. So that's this one I'm working on. No, I'm on 5 right now, I believe. Right now there's going to be 6. Strike that, reverse it. So I'm working on shawl 5, which is called the Quill shawl. And what happens is you get an email saying, like, every month a new shawl comes out, and the email says, hey, here's the shawl info. There's no picture of it. She basically doesn't reveal it to you right off the bat. She just tells you, here's the kind of yarn that I use, and here's how much you need, and to start dreaming of what you would want to use for yarns. And so for this one, the Quill shawl, which came out, I believe, like officially in the beginning of September, we were notified, I think, at the end of August of it. It's very kind of a rustic looking shawl. It's like meant to be. She used very high halo or thicker kind of yarns. And so let me look at my little list right here. What this is, I forgot. Is this a DK? I needed a DK weight. Like, what was it? And so I looked in my stash. I'm really low on DK weight. Like I think I have maybe 5 skeins of DK, or had, and none of them went together. And you needed 3 skeins or 3 contrasting colors, and well, 3 colors, and you needed basically 100 grams of each one. And so I went to my local yarn shop, and I had mentioned this in a stash advancement a couple podcasts ago, maybe even my last podcast, actually, because I cast this on right after I did my podcast, right after. And I literally cast it on the day I was going up to the cabin. And so I worked on, there's some police going down the street. So the quill shawl, and I purchased 3 skeins of llama una. So this is my first time knitting with like pure baby llama, like actually any blend with llama in it now that I think about it. And this is not a blend because this is pure baby llama. It's so soft. And so let me show you what I got so far. It's upside down. I got a lot of little loose ends that I need to weave in later. But here's what I got so far. I wanted to go with neutral tones for this one. Or at least for the first one I knitted this, because I could see myself knitting this again. It knits up pretty dang fast. I don't know if you can tell how, like, it's so baby soft and squishy. Because it's baby llama. And I got my little acorn. Maybe you can see that, Nicole. I got my little acorn. Because I started this specifically for the cabin. And I chose these colors because, one, there's not a lot of color variety in this yarn. I think there, from at least at the shop I was at, there were probably 5 or 6 colorways. They all kind of worked together, which was great. But I wanted the cream to pop. I'm going to show a picture of what the shawl it looks like finished. So you'll see that the cream I chose, or neutral, is going to be for the lace part. So this is going to be so warm and soft. Like I found myself knitting out on the patio, or the cover. They had like pretty much almost a complete covered patio around the cabin. Just sitting out there in the mornings with my coffee or tea and like my shawl, one of my shawls on, keeping me warm, my socks on, and I had this. And this was just so warm. My hands never got cold because it was really crisp in the morning up there. So I'm literally, because her patterns are so well written. You literally know where you're at in every row, how many stitches you should have, all that kind of stuff. So well written out. And I'm about 55% done with the shawl. That's where I'm at right now. And I have it in my new bag. This is part of stash acquisitions, or advancements. But it's Girl So Sheepy. I love the back. And I actually saw the front and I love that, but then I saw the back and I was like, yay, bonus. Just got a nice white inner lining, which is good, so I can find everything I'm looking for. And Girl So Sheepy she's from Australia. This took a while to get to me, but it's not because of her. She shipped it like right away. Just because of the postie. So I had, because the llama una comes in 50-gram skeins, I had 3 balls in here, and I had 3 set aside for when I needed it. And the shawl, and it's growing, and it holds fine. I would call this a medium size. So yay. Okay. Oops, just dropped it. What other work in progress? None of your business. That's going to be in the next podcast because I got to share the love a little bit. So let's move on to stash advancement. This is keeping it real short. So as I mentioned before, I had picked up those 2 skeins of Berger de France in the imprint beige. Well, while I was online at this website called Love Knitting, which I've never bought from before, but I really like what they have, I bought the imprint beige in the imprint ciel. I don't even know if I'm pronouncing it correctly. That was almost Italian and French at the same thing. But look at those, look at that pretty. So there's lavender and baby blue and this really cool off whitish with a gray tone to it, dark blue. I don't think it's going to look exactly like this because you'll see there's multiple colors of speckling and striping, but I think that it's going to look similar. Either way, I love the colorway and I'm really excited to knit this up. Plus, I love knitting with this yarn. Super easy to knit with. So just because it's not expensive yarn. So that's why I went with 2. So that's added to my stash. While I was on Love Knitting, I thought, and this was, I don't know why, partly my mistake, but on their website, under DK weight. My original plan was to buy these 3 skeins of yarn for the quill shawl before I even know what it looked like, right? Now that I've seen the pattern and then I went and bought the llama yarn, I'm happy with what I chose. But this is not DK weight, although it was posted as DK on the website, and so I think that's a little boo-boo. But it's okay, because I can use this for another shawl or something else, or hats, actually, because I made a beanie out of this same yarn in a different colorway, and it's super warm and soft, and it holds up really well. So I might even make some color work hats out of this, which would be a nice challenge for me, because I haven't done color work yet, other than stripes. That doesn't count. So it's Ella Rae's Cozy Alpaca, everyone, and I got 3 colors. This one is called, oh wait, they're all just color 9. I think it's called, like, what did they call it online? Let me get to my stitch. Didn't say into the blah blah blah. Deep teal. So this is deep teal. It's coming out more blue. It's got more green in it than it is showing up. And then they're gray, which is always good. And then they're midnight, which is a dark blue. So I thought that these together look really cool, and I think I can make some cool hats out of there, because, and it'll whip up. And I think it's more of, hold on, let me check real quick. Give me 1 second and check Ravelry. Because it's an Aran weight, thank you. It's not a DK weight. It's an Aran weight. And when I looked at the gauge, it was nowhere near what I needed for quill anyway. So, boom. Those babies are added. And then I got, as a result of me searching in my stash for DK yarn, and realizing the void that I had, surprisingly, in a stash. Actually, I don't really have hardly any DK sport. I have some worsted, but it's no chunky. Oh, no. I have a couple skeins of chunky. But I'm just saying, primarily, my stash is full of fingering. It's probably my favorite weight, because I love to knit socks, and I love to knit kind of smaller fabric things, but there's a time and a place to knit other weights, and I'm gonna want that. So in light of that void, as I said before, I really am a big fan of Sunrise Fiber Company, or Fiber Co. Yeah. And I was part of her sock clubs of a couple rounds, like her 3 months ones. And this time I just joined her DK weight. And so that I can get 3 months of a exclusive colorway for that. So this is, oh, this red is stunning. And it's gonna get washed out a little bit. It's interesting, the black showing up. But that's not white that you're seeing, it's just light red. Let's see if I can get the lighting to play with you. So you'll see it there. It's just some light red, but when you pull far away, it really emphasizes it. But it's this color is vivid. Like it's a little darker than it's coming up, but it's vivid. So this is her vintage DK, 100% superwash merino, 231 yards, 100 grams, and this color is called Pomodori. Look at that. And I have some reds, and I haven't knit any red in my stash. I have, I think I have a Madeline Tosh red. I think that's my own, and then like some more muted reds. But this red is just like, when I look at this, it's like blood red or lipstick red. You know what I mean? So I'm excited to have a red DK in my stash. And it does say, may bleed on it, exclamation point. Yeah. That's it. That's all she wrote, folks. So I hope you enjoyed the podcast. If you did, hit the like, subscribe, please. Join the giveaway. And I'll have another podcast for you next weekend. All right? Take care. Hi, welcome to Nicole Creative Adventures. Bye.